Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel and a new video on Chris's Caterham 7 Cosworth. Guys, Chris has had this car so long, the only pictures he's got of it are in black and white. Sorry, I actually made myself laugh there. So Chris actually purchased this car 15 years ago. It's actually a category C insurance total loss. And that front wheel, definitely this side, had been knocked off. And it had caved in that side of it. Chris actually repaired this, and I'm going to say that lightly, because you've never actually completely finished this car, have you?
Still needs 4 pop rivets in the scuttle panel.
Meaning here?
Yeah.
And you had to wait to do that because the cover's clipped and you didn't know what one had the pin that goes on it.
It has these buttons.
Right, for the cover.
Yeah, for tornado, and I'm not sure which way round it goes.
It would be fair to say that we've actually MOT'd this a couple of times, but you will not drive it because it's not PPF'd anywhere, and you see the rash that was on it when you repaired it, so the stone rash. So, yeah, this car, it is due another MOT. We need to get it MOT'd. You also want it on a proper alignment machine and have it set up because it's never been done. Geometry. So that's not something that I've actually had to have done on a car before. We do get questions all the time. Are we ready to go into that bit? What the plan is, really?
Well, you can do, yeah.
So this is category C. And back when Chris bought this, vehicles had to actually have a thing called a VIC check, which is Vehicle Identification Check. A lot of people get confused. I've seen it in the comments and say it was a safety check. They check the status of your repairs, and all of that is absolutely wrong. A vehicle identity check was exactly what it says on the tin. You had to take the vehicle there and they had to confirm that you had repaired the original vehicle, i.e. it wasn't a ringer basically, and that is it, guys. They checked the chassis number hadn't been tampered with and everything. Nothing was untoward. I have physically, personally taken vehicles after you've repaired them for me, panelled them up in completely the wrong colour, and while they've been at the paint shop, I've just been awaiting for the V5 to come. So all that was a check. Now, I kept on and on and on at Chris. You need to do a VIC check on this, mate, and get a logbook. He actually left it so long,
they scrapped the VIC.
They abolished the VIC and changed it to category S. Bear with me, guys. This is going to be quite a juicy video, I think. You've seen it time and time again. You've mentioned it to me. I've seen it, and we've decided that this is the candidate for what we're about to do. We get questions all the time. How does it affect your insurance? That's one of them, isn't it? Buying a damaged car. It doesn't affect your insurance, guys. It affects the payout value. If you was to lose that car, have an accident in it, it's never going to be worth as much as original. I personally, I don't know about you, have never ever heard of an insurance company charging people extra money for having a car that's on the register.
Some people say, insurance companies refuse, but it's the same insurance companies that sell the salvage.
Exactly.
They're selling it back into the market to be repaired.
Exactly.
It'd be hypocritical if they then said they're not
No, we're not insuring it,
so it's the same insurance companies.
It is. Do you want to explain what we're going to have done, or shall I do it?
Well, we're taking it to a company called Autolign.
Autolign, yeah.
And they've been around for, I don't know, over 20 years.
Yeah, I've taken 3 cars there.
And they inspect the vehicle repair. And if the vehicle repair is deemed to be back to factory, they change the register accordingly.
They do.
From
condition
alert.
It will be, the Cat C will actually be removed from the V5, and what it will actually say on the bottom of the V5, which I don't think's bad, is condition inspected by Autolign.
That's it.
And Autolign are a well-known facility for inspecting vehicles that they are repaired back to completely original.
That's right.
We're hoping you've done this one absolutely bang on like you always do.
See, won't we?
Mate,
it's a learning curve.
It's a learning curve, but we haven't got any problems. I took a Bentley there years ago. They was fantastic, and we've spoken to them, you've booked it, and they've actually said that we can get involved and actually video little bits apart from the security check. So first job, let's get this one over and get that alignment sorted and actually get it for an MOT.
We should point out these are unlike a lot of normal production cars in that the suspension is all fully adjustable on the front.
Yes.
So I've put it, all the suspension on the front has been replaced with brand new items.
From Caterham?
From Caterham. So it's a bit of a best guess
of where they go.
Yeah, so we need it to go on to, and then to set it up accordingly.
Have it set up by a professional, but you absolutely love this car, Chris, don't you?
Yeah.
And the value of that engine, I think we've mentioned it before. One thing I will pick up on, I just want to get your reaction. Throughout the amount of videos we got out there, 600 odd, you still get the odd comment saying, how's Chris getting on with his kit car? This is not a kit car, guys. This is actually a proper Caterham 7, built by Caterham 7.
There's lots of kits that copy these.
There is.
Oh yeah, there's loads.
Super 7 is it?
No, this
is a Super 7. Sorry.
There's lots of them. We won't go into
no,
that, but these are the genuine ones.
We better leave it there. We've got a helicopter on its way.
I think that's a combine.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I think that's a combine.
Sounds quite noisy. Right, let's get it over. This one up. But did you done it by eye?
A bit of string.
In a dark garage? In a dark garage. Clearly. No, do you know what? To be fair, this is, even though they are all in the red, it's very, very minimal, Rich, you said, didn't you?
Yes.
So,
apart from the toe.
Apart from the toe. I mean,
they are going pretty, they were going pretty straight. I've moved obviously this side.
You have moved it all. This is all French to me. I've said it before. Chris and Rich have been sitting here having a chat, and I think Chris understands more of it in the last 5 minutes than I understand, and I'll bring every car here. What we got to remember is this actual front wheel was missing off this car when you bought it. I mean, it weren't just the front wheel, everything was missing.
All 4 wishbones have been replaced.
You replaced all of them?
Both track rod ends, all the bushes, new top joints, so everything's been replaced.
Right.
New uprights, new wheel bearings, so...
Pretty much everything. We're going to let Rich get that set up, and then we're going to head off for an MOT. So MOT, complete success there. Tracking, not so much. He struggled there. He's got the best equipment ever, but he had to actually make a call and get the correct measurements for this vehicle. And although Rich was able to set up the tracking, he's amazing. He does ours all the time. The camber, he didn't want to mess around with on your car because the bolts are too close to the paint.
Well,
and
I don't know if you can show it there, Rob, which I've adjusted it now, but this rod end, which is in this top upper wishbone, adjusts.
Sorry, can we just spin your torch round, bud?
Yeah, sure. Would that be better?
It was just in the way, yeah. So we're looking at this one here, yeah.
Now, unlike a track rod end, it isn't. You're not able to spin the actual track rod or drumstick.
Right.
So on these, you've got to remove it. So remove the nut, knock it out of the taper, and then you undo the lock nut and spin the whole rod end 360.
Right.
So it's approximately 3/4 of a degree, which is 45 minutes.
Right.
Each turn. So after Rich has had it on their fancy machine, I've come back and using this, I've adjusted it to rectify that camber.
So the camber's now bang on.
Yeah, well, as near as you can, because you can only adjust one turn. There's no infinite adjustment. So it is one turn either way or 2 turns. So as near as we can get it. The inspection is geometry, so I guess we know.
That's what I was about to say,
we know when it goes, if it's...
They're going to be checking the complete square of this vehicle, so...
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah.
So.
Right, let's get it loaded on the back of the truck, mate. But just before we do, Chris has been through the archives and you actually found some colour pictures.
Not great, are they?
No, but we're going to include...
on an old camera.
Yeah, mate, they're still pictures, aren't they? So
there's some of it when it arrived and some during the repair.
I have just had a flick through. They are quite dark, guys, so bear with us. But
there's a couple of it, Rob. I don't know if I've sent you those of where I've got it on the jig.
I've got them, yeah.
And I actually fabricated up a set of brackets to hold it on the jig. I don't know if you've got any of that. So we'll see if we can put some of those.
Yeah, definitely. We'll include those photos now. couple of days later, guys, and as you can see, Chris picked the worst day of the year, which is good. Unreal. We needed this rain, but we've had to stop halfway and actually put the roof on that car, which makes it look awful, I think. And it's never ever been on, so it was so tight. But we've arrived. We're in Surrey, PS Auto Services, and it's the Autolign Inspection Centre. So fingers crossed, Chris, today this car's going to be removed from the crash database and become perfect again. Let's hope so. Chris bought a coat. I never. Let's get it unloaded. So we have been away, guys. Actually, me and Chris went round to the cafe, had a bit of breakfast, and the chap here is actually, do you know, I forgot your name already. Mark, I do apologise. So Mark don't actually work here. He works for the company Autolign, and basically he goes round all of the garages doing these inspections. So today he happened to be here because Chris ultimately booked the check here. It was the closest to us. So you can see he's got the bonnet off and he's done all of his security checks. There's a few more little checks to do, but I know Chris had a couple of questions for you, if that's okay, and I was going to try and just capture them on camera, just for a little bit more in depth.
It's just basically, Mark, I've never taken one of these, any car that I've repaired or for a check before. Just maybe not specifically for the Caterham, but in general, what does the check involve, apart from the security side?
Basically covers it. We cover everything. So we cover all MOT items apart from emissions. So we will check all the steering, suspension, lights, everything basically. But the main thing we're looking at is the method of repair.
Yes.
And the quality of the finish. We do take age and mileage into consideration, so we don't expect a 10-year-old car to look like a 1-year-old car, for instance. But as long as there's no signs of structural damage and the method of the repair is correct, and obviously there's nothing that's safety related, like if we jack it up and find a ball joint gone or something like that, then it's pretty straightforward, to be honest. It is quite an in-depth check, obviously, because we do go around all the body, so we check the panels to make sure the paint thickness is correct, make sure there's not excessive use of body filler. We check the quality of the repairs in the area to make sure there's no sinkage and stuff like that. But again, we take age and mileage into consideration.
And it's probably more involved for a more modern vehicle of a more conventional type of construction than maybe this.
These are pretty
basic.
Agricultural,
simple. For sure.
Basically you've got a frame with an aluminium body put around it and riveted into place. Now a lot of modern cars are going back to aluminium chassis, bonded and riveted.
That's right.
But they are special rivets, not pot rivets.
So
and every manufacturer has its own way of riveting.
Right. And the Autolign check, this is open to any car that's been recorded as a total loss.
Any car,
C or B in the old days. S or N.
We can only do repairable salvage. We got a lot of phone calls from people saying I've got a category B. I want to have inspected. We are not allowed to inspect them. And when we try to point out the fact we can't do that and point them towards the DVSA website, which says category B should be for brake only,
I guess they're quite rare.
We tend to get a lot of abuse. Well, for some reason, a lot of category Bs are about that have got logbooks.
So can we step back just a little? Sorry.
They're slipping through the net somehow.
They're slipping through the net and people are saying, well, I've got a logbook and it's MOT, why can't you inspect it? But we are governed by HPI rules. And the fact is we cannot inspect an A or a B because they should be broken for A's completely, B's
So finally, probably.
I don't know if it's going to hear us. Can we step back just by the door? Because they got the air compressor on. I do apologise. Sorry about that. Oh dear.
I think you've already covered it, but when a vehicle passes the inspection, that is then relisted as condition inspection.
What happens is as I said, we only work for HPI and HPI only, so we don't work for any of these other sites. We don't have access to HPI information. So on their site, on HPI site, the V car part, the right-off part, the top, that will go back to green. and then it will be highlighted on condition inspected that we've inspected it, and it was a category at one point in time.
So from a resale point of view, a really valuable thing to be able to do to sell the vehicles on.
Yeah, obviously we don't sell or get involved.
No, but from a vehicle repairer point of view, it's a really valuable thing that you can then sell the car and present that inspection report to a potential customer.
Exactly, you get a report, you get a certificate of conformity that it's been repaired to a commercially accepted standard, and you get a follow-up letter from HPI Solaris saying the change on the HPI's registry is taking place.
I'll just have one question, Mark, and it's not really a question. I already know the answer, but because you're in front of us today, and you're an expert in your field, I get so many people saying, I remember when the cars were category C, I didn't mind buying them because they used to get inspected for the repairs. I've mentioned it a number of times, but as you know, category C VIC check was purely the identity of the vehicle.
We're talking about two different things here. Up till 1996, Autolign, in conjunction with HPI, were able to inspect category C's and D's, as they were then.
Right.
And they used to be removed completely. That was in 1996. That was deemed not acceptable, which is we totally understand that.
Yeah.
So then they brought in condition inspected, which is what we have now.
Right.
So we've now got, as I say, before 1996, 1996, they used to be, as long as they've been repaired properly, they used to be taken off the register so they could be sold on.
Yeah.
After 1996, it went as condition inspected, so they now get inspected. People know what the history is, but they also know that it's been repaired properly.
Thank you, Mark. Really appreciate that.
Is something completely different.
Yeah.
VIC was done by DVLA as
Vauxhall,
Oh, Vauxhall,
yeah.
And that was only on category
C.
C's or S's, as they are now.
Yeah.
Which were structurally damaged vehicles.
Yeah.
They stopped that for some reason. You have to ask the government the reason why they done that.
Yeah.
But now all they do is they mark the logbook, but that stays on the logbook forever.
That's correct, yeah. A lot of people used to think that was the point I was getting at, was once a car had a VIC check, it had been inspected for safety, and it was far from it. It was purely to check that that vehicle had been repaired. Those chassis numbers belong to that vehicle.
Exactly right. They used to take the information from the V5 and check it against the chassis number and the VIN sticker and the number in the windscreen, and if it was really badly damaged, then they would be having a different conversation.
Yeah.
But generally, that's all they check.
Yeah. Mark, thank you so much. Thank you. 2 hours later, guys, that car is now completely removed from HPI, the damage register. Well, actually, 7 working days. 7 working days. You'll be able to check this car and it will all come up clear, but it will still say condition inspected, which is, I mean, basically, he's just inspected this car for back to factory.
Yeah, quality of repair.
Quality of repair.
Yeah, that's right.
Mate, you ain't got a big smile on your face. You must be pretty chuffed, because that was pretty bad when you bought it, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, but we try and do things properly, as I think people on the channel by now.
A couple of advisories there. Should we talk about it when we get back to the yard? Because it is kind of windy out here, but a couple of advisories, nothing to
all
do.
Unrelated to the...
absolutely.
All on the back, actually.
Right, let's head back and hopefully avoid that rain.
Yeah.
Let's go. So it was quite late when we got back yesterday, but the car is completely finished and you're over the moon, mate, aren't you?
Good news.
So 2 advisories. Chris, I'm going to stay on this side. We want, really, because there's probably not really going to be another video on this, is there? So we're trying to get everything in. Yeah. Possibly a PPF video if in the future we're going to try and do that. But 2 advisories, and that was all he could find wrong with this car, and they wasn't failures, fortunately. And I don't want to get this wrong. Driver's side rear wheel camber was...
I've got to get this right. It was 30 minutes less than it should be, negative. So we've got and they're done on shims.
Right.
So I've got to look into that. But unrelated to the accident.
Because it's on the back.
Yeah, and also it was one of the lower arms.
He showed us that. Do you think we could see it?
He said it's not. Well, we know it's not an MOT file because it's been through an MOT.
I'll tell you what, Chris, if you could get your finger just in front of that wheel, round the front there, and actually point at it, because I think he marked it in yellow pen. There.
Yeah.
So you can actually see the yellow chalk on there, and it's just deteriorating.
No, there's no play in it, but he said there is a slight delamination.
Right.
That he's picked up.
Oh, it's getting up here.
But,
and that is it, mate.
It's only an advisory, so but I will do it anyway.
I'd say you've done pretty well, really, in the 15 years that you've owned it.
It actually turned out, what did we check the date? It was 13 years.
Oh, 13 years ago.
13 and
Still
a
long
years.
time.
It is too long, isn't it?
So a few little bits left.
It's gone up in value, Rob.
It's gone up a lot, and the engine in particular, we know, is worth a small fortune.
That's
It's
right.
actually worth... If this car had a Pinto in it, and you had this car and the engine sitting side by side, the engine would be the most valuable bit.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's still a couple of bits you want to do on this. Most importantly, PPF because of the paint.
Yep.
And also, you do want to take it down and actually get them carbs set up. Because,
Yeah.
do you want to quickly fire it up? Because I don't think we've run it in this video. And then people can hear it. It is over fueling a little bit. When it warms up, it's actually okay, isn't it? But
as long as you keep the revs on, yeah.
It does sound nice. Yeah, that'll do you, mate. Lovely bit of kit. Something we've been mulling over for quite a while, actually taking a car and having it removed from HPI. I've actually done it quite a few times, but many years ago. Now, he did say it's actually not so common on cars. It's more the government have given an incentive to actually have damaged repaired vehicles returned to the road for taxis.
Well, yeah, they've something along the lines of previously you couldn't use a damage repaired as a taxi or private hire. Now you can if you have an inspection.
And he said he's literally
lots of them
everywhere doing repaired cars that are being
but
used.
I believe one day the industry will go where every car that's repaired will have to have I think that will happen one day.
And we're fans of that.
Why not?
Definitely.
It's doable.
It is doable. Where
just proved it.
Where a car like that has to go for an inspection after it's been repaired, and I think that would put a nice lining on the salvage industry, because it does have quite a bad name.
Tarnished reputation, isn't
it does. You've only got to go.
Cowboys.
Yeah, you've only got to go back and look at the 2019 Ford Fiesta that had drywall screws holding the bumper on that we bought, which is ridiculous. I'm not going to get carried away with an ending, Chris. It was your car, and it's something we wanted to do. Have you got anything to add?
No, I don't think so. I think
no,
that's it.
That's the end of the video, guys. Hope you did enjoy it. Let us know what you think in the comment section down below. Again, it is something completely different, and I'm guessing that 80% of people actually watching the video probably didn't even know that you could do that or that it existed, because it's not publicised massively. Chris just had a valid point there. People are going to ask how much that inspection cost, and it does actually vary on what the vehicle is, but they start from 250 and go up to 375. 325, and your one was at the lower end of that. 280.
Yeah.
Links in the description. So don't forget, please like, subscribe, hit that thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Follow us on Instagram at Salvage Rebuilds for the little sneak peeks, and we'll see you very soon in the next one.